What is up, YouTube? Crafting Cars here. Happy Tuesday. Now for today's video, we are finally back to working on our 1997 Honda Civic project car, and today we have a little bit of restoration and modification to do to the front end of this car, so let's get right into it. Alright, so our main goal is to install this Truhart front traction bar and these SPC upper control arms. Now, along the way, we might as well take this opportunity to clean up the chassis quite a bit. So I got all the tools and everything laid out that I'm probably gonna need. We got some super clean, some rust reformer, some paint, and a little bit of truck bed lining that we like to use as undercoating. Tools for cutting, drilling, and tapping and everything like that. We might even end up doing a little bit of welding on the chassis. But first things first, we gotta strip this thing down, pull off the fenders, the bumper, get it up in the air, take the wheels off, and take a good look at what we're working with. Alright, so now that we got all that off, we can take a look at the rust situation on the car. Now, as you can see, it ain't too bad. I'm noticing a little bit of corrosion here where the bottom of the fender bolted up, but inside the wheel well, it's not bad at all. I got a factory coating in here that held up pretty dang good, except for the spots where my wheel decided to rub. That's just how it goes when you got a commitment to fitment. But if you notice at this pinch weld at the top, we got quite a bit of rust. So the backside here is actually not bad. I can run my finger along there, nice and smooth. But the front side here, as you can see, that's crusty. And we even got like a hole starting here. This is where the welder might come into place. We might have to weld in some new steel if I have any concern of us not having enough structural support there. But yeah, as you can see, the corrosion is pretty bad. Okay, so it's a pretty similar situation over here where we've got a little bit of rust by these holes. Coming up, the pinch weld here is pretty rusty. And then these holes right here must be a pretty good spot for water to get trapped because this is also pretty dang corroded. Yep. Before I go any further, I guess we can start taking some more components off. So now I guess is a good time to take off the upper control arms. We'll see, I might pull out the coilover as well. We'll take off the oil cooler. We'll take off probably the intercooler and the traction bar. Alright, so now that we got all these components removed from the car, it's time to start cleaning it up. So I'll probably start on these frame rails, kind of grinding off these nasty cuts here and taking care of any rust I come across on the way. I'm also going to drill and tap these mounting holes a little bit bigger to add some rigidity to the traction bar setup. So I'll be able to run bigger M14 by 1.25 hardware, and those will fit much better in these holes. Want to get a nice snug fit with the hardware and basically all the mounting on the traction bar, and that's going to help quite a bit with the whole rigidity of the chassis because there is quite a bit of force on those traction bars when you launch the car. And I also use the traction bar and the turnbuckles attached to it to pull my lower control arms forward to dial in my caster adjustment on both sides of the car. So yeah, very important that that traction bar stays very solid and doesn't move, because if it does move, not only could it possibly tweak the chassis, ruin these threaded holes, but it'll also throw off my alignment. So yeah, got to keep that nice and square. Heading around the corner here, we're going to start kind of coming up with a game plan on how we're going to take care of this rust. I'm thinking I'm gonna use my 3-inch cutoff wheel. That's all I got on me today. Maybe we'll have to use a bigger one in the future, but I'm planning on kind of making a cut here, maybe going around, probably make a custom stencil. Just trying to get rid of all this rust in one nice clean cut. All right, I think that's enough talking. Let's get back to work. Wow, look at that. Well, all right, that wasn't so bad. We got all the rust out of there, pretty clean cut. Here's the pieces we got out. Now I ended up cutting off a pretty big piece because I suspected that, as you can see, it was much worse on the side that we couldn't see before. That's usually how it goes. The rust likes to spread from the inside out. Now here's that seam. As you can see, the side that we couldn't really see before doesn't have too much rust, but the outside was completely coated. So yeah, now that we got a nice clean cut, it's gonna be pretty easy to make a nice stencil out of some steel. I think we'll probably end up using like 16 gauge, which is about 1/16 of an inch thick. And we should be able to stitch weld it in there. And yeah, it shouldn't be too bad. I'm gonna go inside for a little bit. We're gonna charge up the batteries and everything. My camera's getting hot. I'm definitely getting hot. I think I'm gonna go ahead and cut the other side, and then I'll catch back up with you guys. And we're back. Just got done cutting and grinding the driver's side. I cleaned up a little bit of the rust around these holes here and ended up just cutting this plastic line here. Still don't know what it's for. I think it might be part of the old AC system. I'm trying to think. It could be an AC, the evap can drain line, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, don't need it anymore, so cut that back. And as you can see, we had to cut some big chunks out of there. Blech. Even worse than the passenger side. But glad we got it done. I think now this is probably a good stopping point for today. Just a quick wrap up. We got, all the rust cut off from both sides of the car. The holes where we're mounting up our traction bar, got those drilled out a little bit bigger and some of the rust taken care of there. Got these frame rail faces ground nice and flat with the paint grounded off there. So if we weld on caps, it's gonna be a little bit easier. And then, yeah, the side's taken care of as well. So for next time, this is definitely gonna be a 2-part video, so maybe even 3-part, but hopefully just 2. So next time, we're gonna be welding up some new steel and all the holes we cut. We're probably gonna be painting and seam sealing all the cuts and welds and everything like that, so it cleans up nice and we don't have to deal with any rust in the future. And then we're gonna be installing our Truhart traction bar and our SPC upper control arms, getting those dialed in pretty close, and then it's back to the alignment shop. So thanks again for tuning in to Crafting Cars, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.